Well, a new documentary airing on City TV this weekend is highlighting several convicted criminals as they navigate motherhood from behind bars. Our Cristina Howorun is joining us live now with more on her in-depth look at the lives of these mothers and their children as well. First of all, welcome. It's so good to see you.
So good to see you, Tammie.
And this is a rarity. You don't see media behind the scenes in prisons at all here in Canada. So this is rare.
No, it really is. Unlike in the States where you often see film crews there and news crews, it's really tough to get in. I mean, we're the one group of people that trying to get into prison, and it's very difficult. But over several months, we were able to get this sort of exclusive, unprecedented access to both the Edmonton Institution for Women and the Grand Valley one, which is in Kitchener, Ontario. And these are max, medium, and minimum security. So you have all different types of inmates there. But what we were really there for was the moms, because there's a program in Canada where you can actually raise your child up until the age of 5 in prison along with you. So that's what we were there for, because I was just astonished that this actually existed, right? I saw it on a TV show and I was like, I wonder if we have something like this. And lo and behold, we do.
We do. And what are the conditions like? We're seeing some images now. So this is actually in a prison with a mom raising a child, the conditions not looking anything like a typical prison would.
Absolutely. I was astonished by how, I don't want to say nice, but nice.
Yeah.
You know, nice. Our prisons are for women. Particularly when you get to the medium and minimum security areas. You know, they live in cottages, in a cul-de-sac, they've got gardens and Muskoka chairs and reading nooks and their own bedrooms and lots of different touches from home. I expected a lot more bars and a lot less avocados.
Yeah, wow.
And this is really the reality of what our prison system is. But you know, when you see what the nursery actually looks like and how there's an adjoining bedroom and there's a crib, and as the child ages, there's a more age-appropriate bed put in there. And yeah, the child grows up in prison with their mom and surrounded by convicted criminals, right? Because this isn't a provincial jail. These people have pleaded or they have been found guilty. And, you know, some of the moms that we were speaking with were serving life sentences for murder, for attempted murder, 12-year sentences for drug trafficking. And while they did not have residential access to their kids, they're still trying to be good moms. They're still trying to have, you know, a fingerprint in their child's upbringing and make sure that they're kind of on the right path and try to make them stay away from the path that they followed.
Right. And for you trying to research this story, of course, and put this documentary together, you had to develop some relationships with several women in prison in order to allow them into their lives, into the children's lives.
Well, and that's exactly it, is because it's a prison, it's not like I can meet them for coffee and we can go through their background story. And, you know, oftentimes I do that with our contributors and I have one-off meetings. When I wanted to meet Danielle, who's one of our main contributors in Edmonton, I had to hop on a plane, go in there with just a notebook, wasn't allowed to record anything, no photos, nothing like that, and sit down. And it's like, okay, you've got an hour and a half, go. And I'm not really prison material.
Yeah.
So actually going in to meet this woman was like, okay, I have to dress appropriate enough that the upper brass at this prison wants me to come in and tell their stories, but I also have to be like relatable enough very quickly in like the shirt that I'm wearing or the jewelry that I'm wearing. And I know nothing about her. I kept on researching her. I couldn't find her on social media. All I knew is that she was convicted of attempted armed robbery, that she was raising her child in prison, that she was from Lethbridge, and that it took almost like SWAT-like activity. Her whole house was surrounded by police in order to bring her in. So it was like, this woman could be very dangerous. And instead, she ended up being lovely with like, she comes bouncing out of the lobby with pink hair and like a pink tank top and long beaded earrings. And I was like, I did not expect that. So it kind of shattered a lot of the stereotypes that I went in there with, right?
A lot of the stigma there. And for you, those relationships developed to a point where you were involved even during the pandemic with some of the issues that were coming up for a lot of these moms and their kids.
Oh yeah, for example, Danielle, and you can see her on the screen right now, she's in Edmonton and they had a COVID outbreak. So 2 weeks before her release date, her son was essentially forced out of the prison. He's 4 years old, he's Charlie, he's on the screen right now, just an adorable kid. And she's in Edmonton. Her mom lives in Lethbridge. She was moving to a friend's house in Calgary. Nobody had a car. It's June 30th at 8 o'clock at night. So the next day is a stat holiday. And all of a sudden, my director and I are like, okay, so we're going to cancel our flight. We're going to go buy a car seat on Canada Day, drive from Calgary to Edmonton, go grab this son, her son, Charlie, and bring him back to Calgary. And then we got to spend several days with him as he was trying to amalgamate himself and kind of readjust himself into this new home with her friend Amber and her 2 children that he had never met before. So on this drive, he's like, you're the only person I know, because to me, the reporter, because he'd met me a couple of times. Otherwise, it's just strangers. And so we got to observe him trying to maintain that connection with his mom and his mom's real efforts. And it was like, that's when it dawned on me that she's had access to him, but so many of the women don't. And so we really went into, how do these women that are serving lengthy sentences, that are serving life sentences, how do they grow with their child and maintain that connection? So we were able to observe that with a couple of our contributors out of Kitchener.
Right, so both inside and outside look, as well as though these prisoners are looking to continue to be good moms. It is fascinating. It airs on Sunday, 10 p.m.
Yep.
right here on City TV. Cristina, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.